Thrall.
And hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. We got a couple of comments in the chat. Tyler Arnett, excited to hear your thoughts. This has been one of my group's favorite games this year. And David Coleman, hi Greg, best of the best to you and Mrs. Playthroughs. I actually tried to get Mrs. Playthroughs to play this with me because she's home, and I was like, hey, just play with me. We'll figure it out. And no, Sarah's at a stage where she does not want to learn any more new games, so I guess she just has, like, you know, just some overbearing husband that just teaches her too many games. I don't know who that guy could be. We have Private Vendetta. Hello to you, sir. Yeah, this was a review copy sent to me by Juraj Bilic. I think I'm butchering that last name. In my head, it's Bilac. That could be wrong. But if you go on BGG, go to Machina Arcana. I believe I'm saying that right. It could be Machina Arcana. I think it's Machina Arcana. And he will definitely come up. This was self-published by him originally, since he has created Adreama Games. And this has been on my radar for quite a while, and just reached out to him, and he was more than gracious in sending me a review copy of the base game, as well as this really gorgeous lore book. And I kid you not, the art in this game is one of my favorite things about it. I have not read this book yet, but there is a lot of crazy full color, full page artwork, and you'll see a lot of that as we go through the game. But yeah, this is a pretty crazy world created. I mean, it's still Cthulhu, it's still Lovecraft, but it is a very nice and welcome twist on that. I am not a huge steampunk guy, and I'm a little bit like, you know, Lovecrafted out, but this was interesting enough that I think this would be a really interesting take on the whole genre, and indeed it is. So I really do like this game. The base game comes with three scenarios. Replayability, I'm not sure how much is there, to be totally honest, but I've played it with a friend a few times. I've played it solo once, so this is probably the least I've played a game before putting it on the channel. The rules are pretty straightforward. The rulebook is fairly good, and I don't say that often. Do I think it could be a little bit better? Sure. Do I think there were some things that were like made a little bit unnecessarily confusing? For sure, I always kind of feel that, but ultimately, this player rate especially is pretty awesome. Now, I do wish the player rate was not on a huge piece of paper that is, not exactly durable. But as far as the content on here, this is a super helpful thing to have out during the game that really makes the learning curve a heck of a lot better. This is also another game, like a lot of, co-op style Lovecraft games. Should you play a true solo? Should you play it multi-handed? There's a lot of opinions on both sides. You definitely have your camp that's like, this should only be played with multiple. Hold on, my AC is not turning off. System off. Sorry, I thought I did that before. So if you're hearing a little bit of feedback in the background, that is probably just my AC, but that should indeed get better. I'm going to play True Solo today, mostly just going to keep it streamlined to make sure I'm getting all the rules right. There are a couple of mechanics that do come to life more when you're playing multiple players. I will definitely try to touch on those as we go. But for the most part, it plays very well, True Solo, and there's a nice scaling that will kind of work with that. Now, it's a different game. You're not going to be killing as many monsters True Solo. You're more trying to get the chapter objectives and get the heck out and live. So I should probably look up what happens if you die, because I think if you die, you die, True Solo. Where are you at? Basic things. I mean, it kind of shows you I haven't died in this game yet. I did have a couple of rules wrong that were making it a little easier. Where is the win, you lose? You win, you lose. I'm assuming if you die, it's just game over. And that's all she wrote. But I can't find it. Yeah, because if you die in a multiplayer game, here you go, how to lose the game. Explorer death is permanent, which means when the last explorers die, the game is lost. If players reach endgame, then the defeat condition is met, then the game is lost. All right, that's very cool. So the in a multiplayer game, if someone dies, they actually they take over the monsters. So in a solo game, obviously that wouldn't happen. The game would just be absolutely over. Sajid says, hey, hello there. So you're concerned about replayability? I would be concerned about playability. Teach its own, Sajid. I mean, it's if you like, this is more narrative driven than mechanics driven, and the narrative, there's a lot there that I like. And again, Arkham was a huge part of my journey as a solo gamer. So again, it's nice to always have like a little bit of a fresh take on the Arkham world. Lovecraft burnout is a real thing in gaming now, but I still can't get enough. Yeah, I hear that, David. It's interesting. I mean, if you look at like Unfathomable, right? Unfathomable is a much better version of BSG as far as I'm concerned. I played BSG 4 times. I played Unfathomable once. I would much prefer playing Unfathomable. It's just less of a clunky mess. In my opinion, so with a little bit more things, that just a more modernized, more streamlined game, and I appreciate that. I think BSG needed that. Now, if you have the nostalgia for BSG, I don't really have a touch point with the IP, so that's probably part of it. I could see you not agreeing with that statement, but I really do wish Unfathomable was not themed with Lovecraft, but it sells, right? I mean, this is why the companies do it. They know if they put Lovecraft on a box or Cthulhu on a box, they're going to sell some copies. I'm really interested in the difficulty level replayability. It's a game that's definitely on my radar. Yeah. Look, there's 3 scenarios in the core box. There are expansions. I did go ahead. Again, I'm happy when I get a game from a publisher, and if I like it, I am happy to support that publisher back. It's kind of been my MO, is what I did with Uprising. It was what I did with this, where I did go ahead and pick up the expansions on my own. So that does add 3 more scenarios. There is like an interconnectedness to the stories, but the game is primarily designed for you to play them as one-offs. So you're basically getting 6 scenarios. You have a ton of different investigators that will change up how you approach the game, but the investigators it's not that they have like unique starting cards or anything. They have unique abilities, but there isn't this isn't like Arkham investigators where they're just radically different from each other. From a gameplay perspective, I am happy to take charge of managing the monsters. Just saying, sure, we'll do that next time I get this on the channel, man. So there are a ton of monsters, and one of the things that's cool about this game is the storage solution in the game is very, very good. It's not amazing, it's not perfect. You're gonna have to make it your own and do some little things, especially if you get the expansions. But here is an entire tray of monsters. I have them alphabetized. There are a bunch of other monsters over here as well, and then you have this little handy tray which has these destruction tokens, and you'll see these, and it has these health markers, and then it has these destroyed door markers. So I'm just going to take some of these out because we are going to need them, and I don't really want to be wrestling with the storage during gameplay, so take a few of these out, put them on the side. Probably should have done this before you started streaming, Greg. Yep, I should have. That's a good point by you, whoever that was. And but it just means more time together, kids. More time with solo playthroughs. What could be wrong with that? So I have my little double layered player board here. Double layer player board is going to get a couple of markers on it. I did not get those out of the box because I forgot to do that. So I'm going to grab 3 of these things. One of them is going to mark this is going to be our health. Our starting health will be somewhere between 4 to 6, depending on the investigator I end up with. This is going to be our essence. That's going to start at 0. And then this is going to be our starting stamina, which will start at 6. Stamina is pretty cool in that you spend stamina to do actions, and there's like a management that goes on between things, and then you could spend essence to lose health. So you basically have these 3 resources that you're managing as you go through the game. We also have these little tokens. If there's ever a continuing effect, we would put this token to indicate what effect is at play. You have 3 of these per your investigator, and they reset every round. Now, sometimes you could stack. You'll have something that will be a continuing effect that you can make that happen twice. And again, we'll kind of see some of that play out most likely. This is a double layer chapter board. The double layer chapter board is pretty cool. This is where we're going to track a few things related to the evils that we are up against and facing. So up here we have the monster level. The monsters are going to start at level 1. and then we're going to have something over here to track the whether monsters are going to spawn, and then we have something over here to track the horror level. Those will be set at a certain numeric value depending on what chapter we're in. Each scenario has multiple chapters. You'll see that play out, and then there's a threat level up here. This is going to keep moving. When it gets there, it resets over here, and then the monster level goes up, and new, more difficult monsters are going to be added to our list of available monsters. Now, this is probably going to drive some people crazy. Instead of sorting all of these decks, there are 5 decks that have different levels. You have your handheld items, you have your artifacts, you have your accessories, and then you have your consumables. You also have your monster deck. Instead of sorting these out after every game, I keep everything together, and I'll just pull until I get something that could be played at the time. For instance, if I have access to level 1 items, and I keep pulling cards and they're level 2s or 3s, I'll just discard them, put them aside until I get level 1s, and then when I add level 2s and 3 items in, then they'll already be in there. It just, for me, makes the gameplay a little more cumbersome early, but a little bit better as you go, because you're not like adding a ton of items to the deck as you go. David Kerman says, I actually prefer the BSG version despite the theme of Unfathomable, but I also love the TV show for BSG, but you're right, they did improve the gameplay. Silverfear says, hello, Ned, I've heard of this one. Looks cool. Yeah, it is super, super cool. I was, again, intrigued by it, and I've played mostly with my friend Zach, and we've really had a good time with it. The crafting for the items is actually pretty sweet. Sajid, I have seen maybe 30% of a playthrough of this before, but I am really not that keen on Cthulhu horror stuff unless it is Mansions, and we have a crazy group playing. That's so interesting, Sajid. I mean, like, Mansions is probably the one Arkham game that I'm like, isn't for me, like, on any level. But I know people really love it, so I think it's just a miss for me. I think I just played too much of the card game, and then Mansion just felt like a worse version of it. So most important question of the day: are there manticores in this game? Prowlers, centaurs? Nope. We need some enemies you can mix up for sure. David Coleman, Mansions is fun, but the puzzles, murder, immersion can be really stall the game. Oh, I'm so with it. That's a really smart comment, David. Like the puzzles part of it. It just, you have 2 actions and you could be stuck in a room like trying to do this weird little goofy puzzle. Like that's such a miss for me, and I don't understand that mechanic. You're basically it's like the designer just saying, hey, lose 3 turns, right? I mean, it's the same equivalent, or lose 2 turns, right? It just, don't make me mess around trying to do this stupid puzzle. I want to go kill some monsters and go to different rooms. It really, nah. The action economy of that game is so tight, and then you're just like making me do a puzzle, and then I have to like manage the app for another 10 minutes after that. That really is my biggest issue with Mansions. Anyway, so we have our event deck here, and the way the event deck is, you have all your base cards. And there's 2 event deck. You have the horror event deck, and then you have the explorer event deck. So and then whatever scenario you're using, you're gonna look for that symbol. So we're doing horror in the ice. So the symbol for that is here. It comes out really nice on camera. Look at that. So you're gonna take these cards that have that symbol, and we're gonna mix these into the deck. So you want to make sure that these are sorted every game, that you have the right event cards going in. They will definitely affect how you experience a certain scenario for sure. So we're going to shuffle these up now, and this will be our Explorer event deck. Saj, a friend of mine with whom we play is a programmer with program physics and manage the puzzles just so right. Sorry for the broken English. I'm kind of tired, but I hope you got most of it. Yeah, dude. Hey, man. When I can speak another language well, I'll get on people for having broken English ever. But I'm sure my English is more broken than most half the time on this channel, so we're good. I appreciate it. But yeah, so getting this set up. This is the Explorer event deck. I'll put this over here. We're going to have the Horror event deck. And again, same thing. We're looking for that symbol. We're going to shuffle these in, and that will be a go. So definitely going to be a bit of shuffling as we get into this. All right. So one of the experiences I did have with this game, there was one of the base game investigators was like a super healer. And when I was playing that I probably won't play with her again. I found her super cheese, and it was like we were never at risk of dying. in a way that I didn't enjoy. So I will ditch her if I roll a die and she comes out. The rest of them are cool. They all again have their own little different abilities, and we'll kind of feature. It's pretty much the same game with a couple of exceptions as far as based on whatever class you are. And like if you're a mystic, there's some keywords that will probably come up more, like arcane, ethereal, and things like that. This is going to be our scenario deck. We're going to put this on top of there. And now we'll kind of, excuse me. All right, sorry, Cthulhu caught in my throat. This will kind of guide us as we go through the game. I'm going to take this little cheat sheet, put this off the screen down here, and then we're going to shuffle up the various items decks. Again, I have all levels of items in here. I do also have like expansion content in there that the items. I haven't seen anything about the items keeping separate. They do have the symbol from the expansion they're from, but it's not like the event. So I do have all the items in the game in here. So I don't know if they're planning any future content. I know there was some issues in the latest Kickstarter, and shipping and money owed and stuff like that. So hopefully Adreama has recovered from whatever nonsense they were kind of stuck in. But I don't think there wasn't like nothing like untoward or anything. I think it was just like some kind of I know there's some legal issues. Juraj has been pretty open about it on the Facebook group. The Facebook group, again, it's another. I always find like the game specific Facebook groups like to be like the best places to be for board games on Facebook. I mean, the bigger groups, like there's some cool stuff in there, but I think you're more likely to run into some toxicity and other assorted nonsense in the more general groups. So Private says, where are you from, Saget? And Saget says, yeah, the last Kickstarter was, yeah. So I don't know more details. I mean, I kind of came in after the tail end, and when I know is when I ordered the expansion stuff, I got it pretty quick and whatever. So I think they were just already in the fulfillment stage. A lot of the company were burnt, especially those that ran 1 or 2 years late. Cost hike is insane. Oh yeah. A lot of companies were burnt. Yeah, no, the shipping really affected a lot of people, man, and it's tough, and you just it's good to see like creative stuff like Steamforge kind of saving Dia, and Uprising was able to kind of survive, but yeah, it was a rough time for the industry, and still really not through that all completely, but hopefully things get better in the next couple of years, and the company, I mean, the industry is still like figuring out like where crowdfunding fits long term, and what are the models that are realistic to go on. I mean, you're coming into resource scarcities, you're coming into shipping cost hikes, you're coming into a saturation in the market. You're leaving the pandemic, people are playing less games, but you're still what? I mean, the last Dark Tower still hit 2 million, right? I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be a new normal for sure, but the industry is still obviously very, very healthy. It seems, at least on the outside. Sagitt says, call attention Europe, Hungary to be specific, if that rings a bell. No doubt. All right, well, I'm going to roll a die. These tokens, these are for tracking horror, so if there are ever any ongoing negative effects in a scenario, we'll use these horror tokens to kind of remind us that they're in effect. I'll just put them there. And I think all of this will work pretty well. Space might be concerned if I have to rearrange some things. I can move my ugly mug somewhere. And that's a bad glare. Why is that happening? That's better. A little better. All right. So I'm going to get a D8. 2 to do. I have 1 in the back, 8 in the front. I rolled a 5. Mackenzie Wellen, she's a crafter. She has base ability of arcane attack 1, reduce armor and will by 1 against her target, or upgrade or augment 1 item for 1. That could be a pretty fun playthrough. I don't think I've played as her, so I'm happy to do that. The rest of these go out again. No unique cards. That's it. This is what we get. But then she slides right here in your investigator board. Again, these little player boards are very, very nice. I mean, these are the kind of stuff you would expect to have to buy on the third hand market or the third party market. It's like an Etsy thing, right? These are really, really nice to come with the game. So Mackenzie Wallen's a crafter. What does that mean? Well, crafters are going to be able to, whenever they get items, they can equip any item type as a main item. So it's super, super flexible, but it has to be equipped as a main item. And I will discuss what that means as we go. I do have to figure out where to put the monsters. I don't think they're going to fit across the top. Oh no, this guy flipped. This is going to be where my items go. Yeah, this is more of a table hog than I than I realized. I will put the monster deck over here, and then I'll just have to figure it out as we kind of get started here, and I see how much room things really start to take up. I get this off of here. We'll move these doors down here. All right. We got some areas, some area opening up. I like that. Great. So we're gonna have our end game tile. So if all the base game scenarios have end game tiles, and you could tell it's the end game tile, you just look on the back of the tile and you look for the symbol that relates to the scenario. So that's going to go out, and we'll see that later if we survive that long. The rest of these are all double-sided, right? So lots of variability as far as the terrain you're on. So we're just going to give these a quick shuffle. Now you will see the next terrain on top of the deck, but to start the game, we're just going to take one of these and flip it up like that. We're going to then we're going to do my starting resources. My starting health is 5, so that's also my max health. I can't heal beyond 5, and my max essence is a 5, so I could not go all the way up to 6. So if I'm at 5 and I gain an essence, well, guess what? I just lose it, and that's just going to be how it is. So to get started, everything else is set. I want to make sure of that. Feels like I'm missing. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but it's probably just me, it's me being in my head. Set up. Yep, chapter board, chapter cards, explorer deck, destroyed, explorer figure, destroyed door tokens, choose a scenario, add, blah, blah. Shuffle item decks, map starting tile. Yep, turn over the first chapter card of the scenario. All right. And we're good. So we're going to go right into the scenario deck. I do have some expansion rules. Let me just get these out of here before they start flying all over the place. And I have the tile, the next tile that we'll see is going to be this one, but I'll just have that off the screen up here. All right, Horror in the Ice. There is a lot of narrative and flavor text in this one. I will, at some point, I'll be picky. I'll pick and choose what I'm going to skip. I will probably skip a lot of the narrative on the events. I mean, each one has like a mini story, and at some point, we're just going to need to keep moving on because of time concerns. So, a lot of the narrative is very cool. I'm going to make myself a little smaller over here. A lot of the narrative is very, very cool, but there's just a ton of it. And again, this can be a longer playthrough. So on the sake of time, I will be skipping over pieces here and here for sure. And these horror tokens, I'll just get up there. Great. So here is our starting art. Ooh, that's going to go up there. And now we have Chapter 1, the entrance. Now, first two things we're going to look at is number one, we see the monster level is going to be at not the monster level. The monster level is here. Whatever this is called is going to be at a 7. And then we have this level over here is at a 4. Maybe I can get the names of that correct before I start driving people crazy. 4 is the horror rating and 3 is the spawn rating. That makes sense. So the spawn rating, horror rating, and chapter 1, the entrance. As we stepped into the dark, an uncanny gust of wind followed us in and continued on down the wide, spacious halls, echoing incessantly. Our eyes, still blinking from the polar glare, adapted at last, and we could finally make out our surroundings. They were scant light, yet enough for us to discover ancient and complex corridors, halls, and rooms built by unknown hands eons ago. What What craft erected these delicate walls and exquisite pillars that rose above the precisely detailed flooring of stone slabs beneath our feet? The whole space seemed to pulsate with a strange rhythm, faint and indistinct. As we embarked on our exploration of these subterranean ruins, the feeling of disquiet only continued to grow. The further we ventured in, the more it appeared that in some bizarre way the place itself became aware of our presence, and we seemed to be alone no longer. Now, there is that symbol there. It's like a circle with like a little bit of an arrow. Every time you see that, that's an entrance effect. You have to carry that out immediately. So we're going to carry that out. It says place entrance token. These are your entrance tokens. They are also your exit tokens, and they're going to get placed on this little diamond here. Now, this is the directional symbol. It's a little misleading. Like there's an E in there, but the E doesn't, it might stand for east, it might not, but ultimately it says, hey, place directional symbol. You just the fact that there's a diamond is more important than anything else. So we're just going to cover that up. And now I'm going to place my explorer, who I should probably get her out of the box, right? That'd be helpful. Where are you, Mackenzie? Here she is. Mackenzie is going to be placed. Now I can place it on the entrance tile, or I could place it one away, so it gives me like a free move to start the game. Now there's a bunch of terrain tiles on here. So these, actually going to use the proper terminology. So these things here, these are chests. So I'm going to start myself adjacent to a chest. That's what's going to help me get some items. Here are trap spaces. That space over here is rubble. This is a recharge station. There's a workbench over here. Workbench is going to be super helpful, as we'll see. These are exploding barrels. These are spawn spaces. Guess what? That's where monsters spawn. Now, monsters only spawn, the max number of monsters you can have on the table at once is going to be 4. And again, our little cheat sheet will work us through that. And here's a chapter space. If you turn over, if you're looking at the chapter card and there's no how to advance a chapter instructions, what you need to do is ultimately activate a chapter space. Now, there's 2 ways to do that. One, the chapter space can be lit, which makes it a lot easier to do. The other one is it can be not lit like it is there, and it's going to be a bit harder to do. The primary way to light up the chapter space, however, is going to be by sealing a spawn space. And you see that's a lot of movement. So one of the reasons that people relate this game two-handed, you have a lot more coverage across the map tile. However, if we ever need it, because something could happen to that chapter space, right? It might go away, it could be destroyed. But if we are ever, say, in like these 2 spots, these 2 spots, or these 2 spots, we could spend 2 of our stamina and put out another chapter tile and explore more territory. The map, however, is going to be somewhat restricted to a 2x2 grid. So if I explore another map tile here, and then I go to the other side of that tile and explore again, well, this map tile comes off the board. Any monsters there are going to be banished. They're not defeated per se, but they are banished, and we'll just take them off the board. So it's a strategic way to try to kind of deal with monsters without actually having to deal with the monsters. And we'll see how many monsters I can deal with in a true solo game. So the 4 phases of each turn are going to be your explorer phase, your spawn phase, your horror phase, and your monster phase. At the beginning of the explorer phase, the first thing you would do is if you have any of these tokens out on the board, you just put them back on your little player mat here. And if you, your stamina will start at 0, you'll reset at the 6. All right, you start at 6 every turn. And again, that's how I do my action selection, and we figure out how I want to spend my actions and what I want to do. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to activate this chest. So I'm going to look on my little cheat sheet here. How much does it cost to activate a chest? Well, that's going to cost me 3 of my stamina. So I'm going to go down from 6 to 3. And there's going to be a few things that are going to happen. Well, first, I'm going to restore an essence. So I already get 1 essence. Second, I'm going to draw the top 2 cards from any item deck. I think I really want a weapon, and I'm a crafter, so I can equip anything as a main item. So I'm going to take 2 what do they call these? Weapons. So the hands are weapons. Now I can only have weapons level 1, that at the start of the game. So this is not a level 1, so I'm just going to put this off to the side there. And this is not a level 1, so there's going to be a lot of not level 1s in here. That's a level 3, level 2, level 3. 3, here's a 1. So I have these 2 to choose from. So I'm going to keep one of these, and I can immediately craft it because, again, I'm a craftsman. Now you see these connection symbols. This means that this could be added onto another weapon, and they actually call that the workbench, they actually call that the, where's the use inventory instructions? Use inventory. This could be, they actually call this an upgrade, but if it's actually put down first, it's just your main weapon. So basically anything that's down is the main item in a display. So this takes up one hand. And here we have the sturdy charge. So the skeleton wand charges 0, max 4. If at max charges, attack arcane 3, otherwise arcane attack 2. When I kill, I restore 1 charge. So if I kill 4 things, I can max this up to 4. That's going to take a lot to get together. Or we have the sturdy charge, attack 1, push 1 space. When you block melee attacks, reduce attack roll by 1, and that will actually increase my armor value, which is pretty nice. I will take the sturdy charge. And since this could connect to this, that could be a pretty powerful weapon that just takes up 1 hand slot. So I'm going to equip this as a main weapon, and I'm going to put this on the top of the deck over there. So that cost me, again, 3 of my stamina. I'm going to put a destroy token here. And now I want to go ahead and I'm going to spend my last 3 stamina to activate this thing right here. Now I am considered adjacent to that, so I can absolutely activate that. So I'm going to again restore another essence. I'm going to look at the top 2 cards of a deck. Let me look at some accessories now. Again, I need level 1s. We have the Scryer's 1 level 1, another level 1. Here we go. So I can take Rarog's Cloak when both hands are unequipped, increase your armor by 2. Well, I have 1 arm equipped, so that's not going to work. Or I have the Scryer, look at the top 2 cards of any item deck and reorder them. That looks fine, so I'll take the Scryer. Now, accessories are going to be a little bit different than hand slots in that you can have like basically a boot area, you can have like a torso area, then a head area, and then you could augment that. So the Scryer right now is my main accessory. If I get another accessory that would be in theory lower, like a torso, this is still my main one, so I'm going to need to unequip that, equip the torso, and then I could add that as a upgrade. So it's main item, upgrade, and then augmentation. I do not want this on top of the deck. This is not going to be a helpful thing for me. I'm always going to have something in my hand, so I'm just going to throw that out and destroy it. They think they call that destroy. Yep, yeah, the destroyer placed on top of the corresponding deck. We will destroy that, and it will just go in a destroyed pile. There'll be 1 destroyed pile for all of those decks, and then again, these are just things I need to reshuffle back into the weapon deck when I have the chance to add more weapons. Now, I use this chest, so we get a destroy token there. Notice all map tile spaces are considered obstacles, and obstacles don't block line of sight, but they do prevent ranged attacks, generally speaking, except for some attacks that can ignore obstacles, but I'll try to point that out as we have opportunity, and the iconography is actually pretty smart there once you understand what's going on. So that was that. I had 6 stamina, I spent 3 to do a chest, I spent 3 more to do a chest, and now we're going to go to the second phase, which is going to be the spawn phase. So the first thing I'm going to do in the spawn phase, I'm going to roll a d10 that comes with the game. A d8 can go over there. D10, booyah, I rolled an 8. So since I rolled equal to or greater than the spawn rating, we actually are going to go ahead and follow that. Well, I rolled high. I rolled greater. There's not 4 monsters on the map. The spawn rating gets reset to 7. Well, it actually never left 7. And now we're going to pull our first monster. We're looking for a level 1 monster. We got a Bayeki. So I'm going to go in here, grab a Bayeki. Here we go. And it's going to go in the closest spawn space. The closest spawn space is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, it's closest spawn space on my map tile. So even if it's on a different map tile, I would go to the closest spawn space on that map tile. Now, when you pull a monster, you want to see if there's any entrance instructions there or not. When any monster is destroyed, this monster teleports to the monster's position. It has a pretty nasty attack that's going to cost it 2 stamina. It's got 4 stamina a turn, and it's got 2 health. So this dude is not going to be that easy to kill. Plus, its armor is a 5, which is pretty nasty. However, its willpower, if you're doing an arcane attack, is only a 2. So I'll put this up here. This should work at least for a while. And then we'll kind of have our monster row. Monsters will activate in the order that they were put on the board. And again, I'm maxed out at 4 per map tile. Not 4 total, but 4 per map tile. So now we're going to go to the horror phase. So I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm going to roll against the horror level. The horror level is a 4. I rolled a 6, so that's unfortunate. So what am I going to do? Since I rolled higher, we are going to increase the current threat rating. So monster threat gets 1 along there, and then we're going to draw a card from the horror deck, which is going to be this deck over here with the elder sign symbol on the back. Trapped contraptions. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. Not a mere warning, for each step brings these trespassers closer to death as the unseen glyphs above faintly glowed ominously. 3 times when any action space is activated, arcane attack 3/1 against explorers, and it'll be explorers on that map tile. That is the focus. In a true solo game, it's not going to matter as much, but in a co-op game, if my partner was on a different, my other players were on a different tile, this would not affect them. Again, if this, unless otherwise stated, the focus is always going to be the map tile of whoever triggered it. Now, attacks, we'll get into this now. Attacks will either have a white square, or it's going to be a black square. The black dice are a lot nastier. The good thing about attacks is if the attack hits, it only does 1 damage every time. So even if it hits by 7, it doesn't matter. It's only 1 damage. So this would most likely cost us a health, almost guaranteed. And now this is the horror event that is currently in play. So that could be replaced by a next horror event, but as long as that's in play, that's going to trigger 3 times before that leaves the game. Now, I'll give you, my starting armor is a 2, and my starting willpower is a 2. These events both enhance my armor to a 4, and the only reason I was able to equip both of them like I was is because I was a crafter. So that's going to help and give me at least some chance to not take a damage from that attack, but that attack is still pretty nasty. So now we're going to go to the monster phase. Once you get to the monster phase, you're going to activate all the monsters in order. The monster is going to look for the nearest explorer. Now that could be on all tiles. Again, a true solo game, it's going to be me. Shocker. And now we're going to see what we can do with the buy key. Now the buy key would do any actions that were out. So if there was an action on the scenario card, it would do that. If there's an action on the horror card, it could do that as well. And there's an order to what they prioritize. At this point, the buy key cannot attack because it has to be adjacent. That target symbol, if there's not a number in there, it means it has to be adjacent. It would cost it 2 stamina to attack me if it was adjacent, but again, it has to be adjacent for that to happen. So instead, it's going to spend its 4 stamina just to move closer to me. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, monsters prioritize movement that would make it to be in a straight line, so orthogonally with the explorers. But this monster, the only way it could move and get closer to me, or the way that it was going to move to get closest to me, was going to be just doing a straight line there. Its next movement, if it had 1 more movement though, would be there, because it prefers getting, again, lined up with me orthogonally. So that's all that Bayeki did. No harm, no foul, did not reach me. I have very little chance of defeating it with its 5 armor, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. The Scryer is pretty cool, actually. I might use that. So it costs me 1 stamina to look at the top 2 cards of any item deck and reorder them. That could help me kind of make sure I'm getting what I want out of the deck. So that is the end of the first round. So we're going to go to the second round. I don't like where that Bayeki is. He's not even standing. So the trap's over here. Actually, I should take these off the thing. Sorry about that. Just realizing that that's probably not going to be very effective. So if he was standing on a space that has like the great look, I could basically activate that and do an attack. If there were multiple monsters on greats, I would just roll the dice once and I would attack all of them equally. But unfortunately, I'm in a spot where I have 5 health. If I activate an action space, I'm taking 1 damage most likely. And then if he comes and attacks me, he's rolling 3 black dice against me. So this could be a pretty expensive turn. It might be better for me just to run and get to a different location. I don't think I'm going to be able to seal one of those and then come back there and activate that chapter anyway. So getting another tile on the board might make sense. The Bayeki only has 4 stamina. Again, I refresh up to 6 at the beginning of the round. I don't have a range attack. So this exploding barrel space, if I did 1 piece of damage to it, it would it would explode, and then if it explodes, it would do an attack of 3 against everyone adjacent to it. But I do have a push there, but push is always in a direct line. So if I went here and pushed a Baiki, he would go there, and he wouldn't get pushed into the barrel anyway. Let me check the chat. Whoa, lots of comments. Sorry about that. Sure, I know one Hungarian word. Private vendetta. With showing off his Hungarian knowledge. I have Ann Trespass coming. No idea how these guys and gals survived all of this. Cool, useful word, but not as useful as the one to order beer and ask for directions to a toilet. But anyway, no hexes. This is clearly an inferior game. Phoenix Knight, what's up, Eric? How are you? I'd be rolling a red flag at replayability with that much narrative, but that's my opinion. Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Jens, this game is not available, right? Sadly, there's a bunch of copies on the secondhand market, not even for that much money. I can already see immersion, although being a huge problem for you to having to stop and check charts constantly. Yeah, I mean, partially is me I'm being a little bit less familiar with this game with the charts, but there's not really that much, like once you get it, you get it. I'm also like, kind of taking a more little tutorial approach as I start this. I'll be using this less and less as we go, especially as the rules kind of come back to me a little bit more seriously. Okay, maybe not in Denmark. I'll check. Crazy Man is at it again. What's up, Caleb? I found a guy who said he'll sell me his Zia Kickstarter for 150. Very tempting despite your review of it. Yeah, hopefully my reviews, even my negative reviews, I hope they give someone a chance to see if the game might be for them, right? I look, every game that's highly regarded is great for somebody, right? Even if it's not great for me. And I think, Zia especially is one of those games that's going to have a huge share of fans that are just looking for something different in the game than I do. What is a steampunk Lovecraft? Yes. Yes, it is. Hello, Greg. Good luck. Surviving the first few tiles is key. Elder sign by a key. I think I'm correct, and I guess. Oh, yeah. Sup, says Sajid to Brian. Brian, are you the director of music? Hi, Sajid. You know me? No, I Googled your name. And I hope I got a good Yelp rating, says Brian. Hi, I was linked in. I'm not sure your ratings exist somewhere out there. The tree, formerly known as Mike. Crazy busy week. Just dropping to say hi. Steampunk their faces. Greg, thank you, Mike. I appreciate the shout out. All right. I've delayed my indecision long enough now. Now, remember, there are also pit tiles. I cannot walk over the pit. Now, if the Bayaki was next to the pit, I could push him in there. So one thing I might want to consider is trying to set that up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's always going to try to get a Thoggen with me. So if I get here, he would indeed try to... he would end up right there. He would end up there and attack me. Never mind. That's wishful thinking, Greg. Because I do have this push ability on my my sturdy Targi. I don't know, something. I'm not that excited about taking damage. I think I just run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get over there. There's a workbench and a chest over there. And then I'd be close to this tile. I could maybe explore this way. That's not terrible. All right, I like it. So I'm going to spend 1 stamina to move. And you basically reevaluate every single time you move, right? And it's the same with the monsters too. So, but I'm just going to spend all 6. I'm not going to activate any map locations, and I'm just going to run a little bit. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let me get adjacent to both of those. We'll see what monster spawns there next turn. The Bayaki is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I could move him and push him into the pit if I really wanted to next turn. Oh, he's going to reach me. How is he going to reach me? This Bayaki is it's crazy. All right, let me go over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And yeah, I can maybe just put it on another map tile, and that way the Bayaki doesn't want to punch me. I mean, 5 health is not a lot. Now, you can spend essence instead of health, but generally speaking, you're going to want to use your essence for other things. So let me just get there. I'll probably explore a new tile next turn. So that's it. Not a very exciting turn. Just used all my stamina to move, and now we're going to go to the next phase. The next phase is going to be the spawn phase. I'm rolling a die. I rolled a 3, so we don't spawn anything. Now this moves down to 6. It's going to make it that much easier for me to trigger the effects of the spawn rating next turn. We go to the horror phase. I roll a die. I rolled a 3. Shoot, the trap contraptions is going to stay in play, and the horror thing goes down to 3. I was kind of hoping that left play, but alas, here we are. I only roll good what I don't want to. The Bayaki is now going to move 4. Again, still can't attack me, so it's going to try to get closest to me. 1, 2, 3, 4. It will not jump into a pit voluntarily. That would be silly, and it will just go there. We go to the next round. This resets to 6. And I think I just put another tile in play, or where's the Bayaki to go? 1, 2, 3, 4. I could push it into the pit there, which I don't hate. Nothing spawned. I can get another item. I kind of like that. Let me do that. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to activate the chest. So I don't even have, so I'm down to 3 stamina. I don't even have the 1 stamina to use the scryer, unfortunately. I probably want to try to get another weapon. So I'm going to spend my last 3 to activate this chest here. That's going to get a destroy token on it. I'm going to get, is that a workbench? No, it's a chest. I'm going to get another essence. And then we're going to get another weapon. Right. Skeleton wand I liked. We also have the Howler. Now these are both from expansions. Again, I'm not sure if they should be shuffled in or not, but I don't see any problem with that. We have charges 4, attack 1. When you lose health, restore 1 charge. Increases items arcane attack rolls by a number of charges. Ooh. And we have the skeleton wand. Now I could keep this separate, or I could wait until I kind of reorganize my my items here. Now these both have a hand. The only hands that matter are going to be the ones on the main weapon. But I could have this separate, but I kind of want to put this in my inventory, and then when I redo my inventory, I can add this as a upgrade to my sturdy Targe. When you kill, restore 1 charge, and you use health, restore 1 charge. But then when you use, I think the thing with charges is when you use them, though, you actually, when I use that attack, I think I have to actually lose any charges I gain. Is I believe the way that's put together. And that's from the expansions. Maybe I should just take the expansion stuff out. Maybe the expansion stuff is too crazy. Charges. Yeah, let me check the expansion stuff. Chapter tiles to cancel, map scrolling. Charges. When you take an item that contains a number of charges, place that number of count on, but the charges are 0. They say on the card, when the item is destroyed, remove the count. These charges stay in the card regardless if the item is equipped or unequipped. And even if the item changes control. But you have to spend them? I'm assuming you have to spend them. Lose one? No, you only have to spend it if it says lose a charge. Interesting. So every time I lose health, that becomes super overpowered. This is lose 2 charges. Banish target wounded unit. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, I'll go back to the skeleton wand. I don't need the Harrower. That seems a little bit crazy. So the Harrower, I'm just going to... these aren't level... This is not a level 1 item anyway. So level 1 item. The Force Alternator. By the way, I did activate a space because Trap Contraptions is still in play. I do lose a health, so I'm down to 4. So the Force Alternator, increase armor and will by 1. And then reduce armor and will by 1. And that's going to be on my target. So I cannot put that on myself. It's going to have to be on the target. Can you target yourself? I don't think you can. Target. Go back to the chart. You attack the target. Unit or mass base. Yes, you may target yourself. So I could target myself with this, which is good. And this would be 2 different targets. False alternator could be nice. It's probably a little bit more straightforward than the skeleton one too. I'll grab the false alternator and we'll put this over here in my inventory. So this is still in my inventory, it's just unused. And it has to be equipped. I cannot equip it as a main item. I could equip it as a main item because it has a separate hand, but I'm going to want to actually hold on to I think I want to get a better weapon later, so I'll just put this over on the side of my unused inventory, and I can put that over here. Or should I just equip it? And then equip it as, yeah, I'll equip it now because I can, because again, I'm a craftsman, I'm equipping it as a main item. Again, you generally cannot have more than 1 main item of the same type, but if you have 2 things that only take up 1 hand each, that's an exception to the rule. I'm going to go ahead and destroy this, and the Harrower is just going to go in that collection of level 1 items. So that took 3. No, that took 3 to move there, 3 to activate that, and that's the end of my turn. We're now going to go to the spawn phase. I'm going to roll this die. I rolled a 6. 6 equals, so it does trigger. This goes up 1, and now we get another monster. Closest spawn space is there. That is a level 1 item. It is a Thrall. So the Thrall just going to spend its stamina to invoke a horror event, and it can move through units. That's pretty nasty. But it has to be adjacent to evoke the horror event, so it won't do that until it's adjacent to me, which is a little bit better. So it needs a target for that. But we're going to take a Thrall out of here and put them on the spawn space. We're now going to do the horror phase. I rolled a 4. This triggers that. This goes up. We get a new horror event, which is good. When I activated the space, since I did that once, I should have put a token on there as a reminder to myself that I've already done that 1 or 3 times. The horror event is Thickness of Bliss. Vermin dwell within our walls. Their filth inside our hallowed halls. I will not read the rest of that. Reduce explorer's range to 1, and that's going to be in effect as long as it says a static effect. It's not like a 1 round thing. It's just in effect for the entire time. I do have the ranged attack with this false alternator that doesn't affect melee attacks, but it's definitely a thing that's in play that I need to remember. We now go back to we now go to the monster phase. So the Thrall can get off of its little pedestal here. The Bayaki is going to just move forward to try to get closer to me. Again, it prefers to get orthogonal, so I actually can't even get it in the pit like I was thinking. 1, 2, 3 is now orthogonal. 4, and the Thrall has 5. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It will, this is a problem. It has 2 health. It will not, it doesn't have enough stamina left to actually invoke a horror event. So I'm kind of in a bad spot. I have 3 essence. Maybe I end up going over here and trying to seal that space anyway. I could potentially close the door. I cannot move through him. Monsters can't move through each other unless they have abilities to say otherwise. The Thrall can move through other units. But if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can try to get back over on this side of the world. If I seal the spawn space with a monster on it, I'm short 1 essence to really make that super effective. And I have to go over this. The closest to that door is going to be 4. Again, if I'm next, this is a door thing. That when you're next to a door, you can spend 2 of your stamina to close the door. This is get attacked by the Bayaki. Close the door. That could be. It's a weird term, but I think that makes some sense. All right, so I'm going to get 6 stamina back. And I'm going to go 1. Wish I had 1 more stamina. There's Explore. This is an Explorer event space. I haven't activated any of those. Yeah, I didn't think this through. When I went here, I was assuming the Bioke would come this way, but no, that wouldn't make sense. It would try to get a orthogonal before it did anything else. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I'm going to chill there. I have 2 stamina left. I'm going to use the Scryer to look at the top 2 cards of any deck and reorder them. I'm going to reorder the I'm going to look at the artifacts. Again, I'm looking at level 1 items. That's not level 1. That's level 1, so that just comes out for now. The Tactical Manual, or the Fulgurator. The Fulgurator reduce armor and will by 2, or remove adjacent destroyed door token. You can activate trap lever or doors on your turn with no stamina cost. Ooh, the Tactical Manual is super nice. Now, so to remove adjacent destroyed door token, I actually have to throw this out. That's what has that X. But the rest of that's actually super interesting. Yeah, I don't know how much I'm reducing armor and will by 2. So again, I'm just reordering them. I can't like trash or anything. I'm not gaining them. I'm just going to put them back in that order. And now my last stamina, I can see what's on top of the consumable deck. Neither of those are level 1. That's not level 1. That's a level 1. That's a level 1. These will just go here. We have the Pulse Grenade or Death Whistle. All right, I like the Pulse Grenade for sure. I can only equip. If I activate a workbench. Yeah, I'm going to put the Pulse Grenade underneath. There are things that make you discard the top cards of the deck, so the ones I want, I'm going to put underneath the ones I don't. And now I'll be fine. All right, so that's my turn. We now go to the spawn phase. I'm going to roll a die. I rolled a 7. Wolf. Killing it, man. So we're going to get another monster. And this is going to be the 3rd one on the tile. That's a level 2 monster. Level 1 monster, we get a deep one. And the deep one's going to go right there. Let me get the D's over here. Deep one, he's going to go there. Fantastic. When I activate, draw a token. They banished or destroyed when you seal. It's destroyed, which is good. All right. The entrance effect of the deep one is the monster threat level increases by 1. That just happens automatically when that dude enters. He has an attack of 3 black dice. When he hits, you roll a d10. If you roll an 8 or higher, you increase the monster threat by 1 more. So kind of get myself in a little bit of a pickle here. He's got 1 health. I need 4 essence to seal the spawn space. I have a chance to just kill him outright. But I'm going to need to get a little bit lucky. You could also spend essence to turn that into extra attacks on your attack rolls. That does have some range. Well, I could also spend 1 to upgrade or augment. That's right. I forgot my little crafter ability over here. So now we're going to do the horror phase. I rolled an 8, so this goes up 1 more. This stays at 4. Again, it was already at maxed out. And another horror event. Here we go. Pillaging Horde. The monster's rage changed its focus from us to their surroundings. We watched in quiet horror as they ripped, shredded, and ravaged everything around them. Destroy action spaces adjacent to monsters. So we're going to destroy this. That's an action space. We're going to destroy this. That's an action space. And we're going to destroy this. That is also an action space. Well, that's interesting. That was the Pillaging Horde. That is the entrance effect. Now we're going to carry out these monsters. The Bioke, if I kill him, the Byaki's going to teleport. That's rough. So the Byaki moves 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't have any stamina left to attack me. The Thrall is going to go 1, 2. It cannot get any closer, and it's not adjacent to me, so it cannot invoke a horror event. The deep one, however, is going to, it is adjacent to me. It has 5 stamina, which means that it can attack me twice, which is rough. So the first time it's going to attack with a 3. It's doing a regular physical attack. My armor is a 4. It rolls a 5, so I take a damage. And then it's going to attack me again, because again, it has 5 stamina. Now it's down to 3. It rolls a 5 again. I'm down to 2 health. Oh, when it hits, I roll a d10 both times. I rolled a 7. I rolled an 8. Since I rolled at least an 8, the monster threat goes up. We've got problems. Man, I wish I could kill this Bayek easier. Ooh, I can arcane attack the Bayek. That would give me essence. Seal the door. Deep one attacks me 1 more time. He attacks me 2 more times. Arcane attack has a deep one. The bike is probably a bigger problem. I'm in a corner with 3 monsters. What have I done to myself? All right, I'm gonna get 6 stamina back. Deep one only has 1 health. I think I have to try to kill it. The bike, he could attack me twice though. All right, I'm going to attack the Bayaki for 2 stamina. The deep one for 2 stamina. I'm doing an arcane attack with my force alternator, so it's 1 black die and 1 white die. The willpower defense of the deep one is only a 3. Good roll here. I can pull off a nice little combo and get rid of 2 of these suckers. And that'd be pretty awesome. So, give me a 3. I rolled a 2. Oh, that's really bad. That's not a good roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend an essence to increase 1 to my roll, make it a 3. That's enough to kill the deep one. That's going to give me an essence back. The deep one's out. There's no exit effect for the deep one. But at least I don't have to deal with him anymore, and he just goes into the destroyed monster pile. Now, the Bayaki, when any monster is destroyed, he teleports to that monster's position. And the Bayaki, when he's adjacent to me, will attack me twice, and if he attacks me twice, he could definitely kill me. I'm going to have a easier time. Oh, I could just kill him now. Which I think makes some sense. Again, I could do this false alternator attack. It just cost me 2 stamina. So if I just kill the Bayaki, the Thrall, what comes adjacent to me, and just evokes 2 horror events, I'm kind of okay with that. It's pretty much the only way I survive. Then I could seal the space and then maybe light up that chapter and kind of deal with that next turn. Great. So I'm going to do a false alternator attack on the Bayaki. So I'm down to 2 stamina. I only need a 2 because it's an arcane attack, and the Bayaki's willpower is only a 2. So I rolled a 2. That's 1 damage to the Bayaki. I'm going to go again with the false alternator. I rolled a 4. I wish I rolled that the first time, but I made this a much cooler turn. But I killed the Bayaki. Bayaki's out. I restore another essence, so I'm back to 4. I have no more stamina, and that's the end of my turn. Checking the comments. Your reviews or opinions give me perspective in relation to all your content years I've watched on how I believe your opinion to be. It's highly valuable, even if it doesn't align with mine. Very cool. It's a beautiful design on the card backs. Oh, yeah. The cards are very cool. Seems weird since Bayakis are always flying monsters in almost every other game. I played in the Mythos, the Greed Phoenix. They're generally large flying creatures, large enough to carry a man, even. Which one can occasionally make use of in the Arkham files. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, going to a central location sometimes is not the worst. Oh, those are the Nightgaunts. I'm thinking of Arkham. Thinking back to Arkham LCG's Night of the Zealot. Got a bell. Take good care of the player here. Thank you, Saget. And Brian to see us. Send help. Yeah, please. Please send help. I need to heal. All right, but the Bayaki's dead, so at least we have a couple of things. I never took the deep one off its stand. Not bad. I'll get better at this. Putting a game on camera the first time is always like, it's like, oh yeah, you have to do things differently than you do when you're not on camera, sir. And so this was the deep one art, in case anyone really wanted to see some slimy, creature from the lagoon. And now we go to the spawn phase. So I'm going to roll the D10. I rolled a 4, so nothing new spawns. Thank God. That could have been very bad. I was due to roll something that was lower than a 7. Horror phase, I rolled a 10, so 4 stays there. This goes up. We might be in level 2 monsters before you know it. Horror event is ceiling collapses. The very complex seem to turn against us. As we explored, with no action on our part, a chill wind blew through both the room and my soul. Again, I'm not going to read all the flavor text. Destroy action spaces adjacent to explorers. This is not an action space. That is a spawn space. So that's fine. We now are going to activate the Thrall. The Thrall is just going to move 1, and now it's adjacent to me, so it's going to be able to activate. It's going to be able to do its invoke horror event thing twice. The first time we get this horror event, depressing fog. Nowhere is safe. We are forever trying to outwit the dangerous traps and pitfalls that prey upon us in every passage and room. Explorers cannot restore essence. That's fine, because that's not going to be lasting very long. Distracting blare. Oh, listen, such dulcet tones. We felt the power of a serene and blissful tune as it took shape and transformed into the sweetness of melodies surpassing all earthly delights. Explorers unequip 1 item. Now it stays in my inventory. It's just going to be unequipped. I will unequip the sturdy Tarjay. Oh, when I block melee attacks, I did forget to have this. I reduce the attack roll by 1. I don't think that would have mattered. I think both of those pretty soundly thrashed me with my 4 armor. I don't think I rolled. If I rolled a 4, it would have mattered, but a tie still goes to the attacker, so that wouldn't have mattered. But I will unequip the Scryer for now. So the Thrall did his thing. Again, it moved once, and then it was adjacent to me, so it invoked the horror event twice. That used all 5 of its stamina. Back to my turn. I'm restoring to 6 stamina. I'm going to spend the first... I'm going to spend 3 stamina, so I go from 6 down to 3, and I'm going to spend my 4 essence, so I go from 4 down to 0. Remember, I was at 3, I spent 1 to make sure I killed the deep one, and then I killed the Bayaki, and I got +1 both times I killed a monster. So I'm spending 4 essence and 3 stamina, and I'm going to seal the spawn space. Decrease the monster threat by 1, so this goes from, it just moves 1 down on that track. Again, monster level, monster threat. The 2 are very different. If there was a unit on top of that, it would have been destroyed. I would have been able to get an essence out of that. Put 2 destroy tokens on top of the spawn space. And then we are going to resolve the light chapter effect, put a token on this. So I am pretty much committing myself. That's the chapter token I want to go for. Now, if a monster had been adjacent to it when we destroyed all the action spaces, that would have been an action space. That could have been really bad. So hopefully it doesn't get destroyed. And I'm just going to try to get down there and take care of business. I'm going to now spend 2 stamina to put a door there. And then I'm going to spend 1 stamina, and I'm going to obviously start to try to make my way down toward that chapter event. So that is my entire turn. I'm out of stamina. We now go to the spawn phase. I'm going to roll a d10. The spawn rating is at a 6 right now. I rolled a 1, so this continues to move down. I'm rolling for the horror phase. I rolled a 9, so that stays at 4. This goes back up 1. We draw a card. Oh, every time we drew a card with the Thrall, that should have gone up 1 more. So every time you draw a card, you increase the monster, the threat level. So that's another thing that's pretty nasty about the Thrall. Reaching evil. We shielded our faces as a strange distortion skewed our vision. We had no idea what this presaged, but everything around us was altered. We now stood on strange stones and the walls around us were unfamiliar. Increased the monster's range by 2. We're now going to activate the only monster left on the board. It's the Thrall. The Thrall is going to spend 4 stamina and destroy this door. So we're going to put a destroyed door token on there. And then he's going to spend his last stamina to go there. So his increased range didn't matter. He still needed line of sight. And we were able to basically just delay him by spending 2 stamina to put that door up. Now you saw that one accessory or that one artifact is going to let me do that for free. That could be really, really helpful as we go deeper into this playthrough. This is going to be my unequipped items over there. Beginning of the round, I'm going to restore to 6 stamina. Then my whole goal is to get down to here. I have no more doors I can shut. You only can have a door where you see those yellow lines, so I can put a door there. Most of these action spaces are already pretty thoroughly trounced. So I'm just basically trying to run down here. So with my 6 stamina, I'm just going to move 6 times. Yeah, that I can get health there, but that's not going to help. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it should go without saying by now that movement is both orthogonal as well as adjacent, but I'll be able to get to that chapter event next turn. So this whole thing, I thought I was going to get a new chapter tile out a couple of times and then just kind of ended up in a corner, but was somehow able to wiggle out of that. But obviously I only have 2 health left, and that's not great. So we're going to go to the spawn phase. I rolled a 4, so this keeps going down. So we're getting closer and closer to a new monster, but we've been able to avoid that for a couple of turns now. Horror event, we have not been able to avoid that. So a couple things happen. This goes up to this. This goes back down here. Monster level goes up to 2. And this is a level 2 monster, so I'll make sure I shuffle him in. Now, every time the monster level goes up, you're going to take the destroyed monsters, which I only had 2 there, and any monsters from the next level. So I only had 1 that I just discarded as I was drawing monsters, and you reset that. In the future, when we destroy a level 1 monster, they do not get put back in the deck. The monster level now is going to get harder and harder and harder, and as monsters get killed, they just go out of the game, so the deck gets richer in much tougher monsters. So hitting level 2 this early is not great. I just kind of got stuck in a couple of things. But when the Thrall is destroyed, he just comes out of the game. He will not end up back in the game for sure. So that is that. I think that's true even if they're banished. I think banished, you treat them like they're destroyed. You just don't get the you don't get essence and you don't get whatever. So I still never drew the horror event that triggered all that. The howl of insanity, penetrating howls of madness reverberated within our souls. There is no rest from this nightmare, from the enclosing walls, from the horrors and fears we encounter. Arcane attacks all explorers as that enters. It's an arcane attack. My willpower is only a 2, so this could put me 1 away from death. It's going to be a quick playthrough, kids. Uh-oh. I rolled a 7. I'm killing it with the monsters, so I am down to 1 health. Now, once I get my essence back, remember I can start spending essence as health, but that's a bad cycle to get into. And right now my essence is 0 because I spent it all to seal that spawn space. So we go to the monster event. I just got to stop rolling horror events because eventually you're going to get some bad ones as that comes out. He's just going to move 5, trying to get adjacent to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we go back to the next round. I restore to 6 stamina. I'm going to go 1, 2. And I'm going to, since this is lit now, it's only going to cost me 1 more stamina. So I'm down to 3. If the current chapter event is not blocking, it's not. I can explain that as we go. If the exit token is not in place on the map, it's not. We're going to flip the current chapter. and resolve it into player's abilities, and then flip the light token to its destroyed side. So we finally get to the next chapter. And we've got a... we really have to restore some health. Woo! What's the Thrall got? He's got 2 health. 1, 2. The trap tokens. Rubble. Nothing that's giving me health on this tile, which is a little rough. All right, so here's the new art for the next chapter. And we go to the Trail of Blood. So I'll read all of this because this is the main story. Trail of Blood, although the curious ornamentation on the pillars attested to the great mastery of their creator, should you focus on their fluid curves at length, their sinister and alien contours would force themselves to repeat endlessly in your mind. Tearing my eyes from the sight, I noticed various trinkets scattered on the floor that resembled standard exploration equipment. Is it possible that we are not the first from our hour to set foot here? My suspicions grew stronger as our advance revealed yet further signs of cult involvement. Suddenly, I lost my balance and had to brace myself against the wall for support. Ignoring the cold organic feel of the stone, I gazed at my feet. My heart skipped a beat when I realized I stood in a thick puddle of blood. There was no body or signs of a struggle, just a dark, congealing ooze trailing forward out of sight. We dared not look at each other lest we see the fear of our companions' faces as we followed the trail into the darkness. So, this ability here means I can trigger this by moving 3 spaces by taking a damage. Obviously, I can't take a damage because I have no essence to spend as damage, and if I took another damage right now, I'm dead. But I do need to take this separately 4 times and just take a damage. Once I do that 4 times, I can advance to the next chapter. Now, there's an entrance ability here that it means I can advance 2 spaces immediately, which I will definitely do. I still have 3 stamina to spend. And by the way, this is going to reset to 6. The spawn rating goes from whatever it was to 6, but the horror rating stays at 4. Where do I want to move? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I just try to kill the Thrall. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2 from that. I have to be standing in one of those 2 spaces to put another thing out. I'm going to spend 1 stamina to go... Yeah, I need to get more items. All those spaces getting destroyed by the monsters is a little unfortunate. This space is where you can get health or extra stamina, but like I think half the die is health. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, half the die is health. I'm just gonna move here, and that should set up the Thrall pretty good. And I'm going to spend 2 stamina. I'm going to target myself with a force alternator, and I'm going to increase my armor and will by 1. And maybe that will save me. So I'm going to put this on here to remind me that that's in effect. That will go away the next round. Okay. I think that's a melee attack. I wonder if that's a melee attack when you just attacks all explorers. No, that's an arcane attack anyway, so never mind. All right. We're going to go to the spawn phase. I'm going to roll the D10. I rolled a 5, so nothing spawns. So we've been lucky there for a few turns now. Rolled me less than a 4. Oh, I rolled exactly a 4. So this goes up. We're going to get a new horror event. Don't kill me. All right, Impatience. So this is a special card from the Horror in the Ice scenario. Bulky masses, twisting, turning, gnawing, clawing, boiling, churning, eager children, hungry, thirsting, yearning to the point of bursting. Not going to read the rest. Monsters can move through units. The Thrall has 5 stamina. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Gets orthogonal. He has no more. He does not have 2 stamina. He needs to invoke a horror event, but he's exactly where I want him to be. We're going to go to the next phase. I'm going to get the next round. I get my 6 stamina back. I'm going to use my sturdy Targi to do a push. So you push directly adjacent. Bam, the Thrall is out. All right, Thrall is out. Since I killed the Thrall, he's going to come out of the game because he's a level 1 monster, and we're at monster level 2. So he's done. Oh, this token got reset, by the way. And I spent 3 stamina to do this push. So I pushed him into the pit. He's out. I get an essence. Again, essence could be really helpful to save me some health here. And I like that. And I think it's time to get another tile on the board, which will just give me some more possibilities. So I'm going to spend another stamina to move here. And then since I'm adjacent to another tile, I'm going to spend 2 more stamina. And we're going to explore a new map tile, draw the top map tile, and we join it. So this is going to come over here, and we join again. We're just looking for that diamond, which is right there, and we're going to put that here. Again, the total grid cannot ever be bigger than 2 by 2. One of the nice things I like about this game is like when you put a new tile on the board, it's not like you have to get all these tokens and put everything out. It's like, no, everything's on there in the art, and then you kind of destroy things as you go. I just find that it's like when you set out like a new thing in Gloomhaven, it's like, oh, you got to set up all the monsters, you got to do this, you got to do that. This is a little bit more straightforward in its approach, and it does mean the gameplay is a little bit snappier. The unfortunate thing about this tile being here is that we have 2 spawn tiles. The 2 spawn spaces are right in my face. The good thing about that, though, however, is, remember, I'm still on this tile. So if I spawn a monster, it's actually going to go on that space because it's going to be on my tile as opposed to being over here. Caleb says, are you saying Targi? Because I believe it's pronounced Targa. Targa? Like Target. Target. I have no idea. Tarjay. Yeah, someone needs to give me a better. I'm gonna go with Targa. Targa? I like Targa. Whatever. Like pronunciation has never been my strong suit, right? But yeah, Targa. I'll go with Targa. If that's wrong, Caleb, you can further correct me. My wife makes fun of me for saying things all the time. I think the best if you go to one of my, what was it? My 7th continent video. Oof, you're going back in the day of solo playthroughs, and I did a. I was saying foliage instead of foliage, and yeah, she makes fun of me to this day for my foliage. But I just like to put the I and the L and flip flop them. Everyone knew what I was saying. Probably, I think. Foliage, it's a thing. All right, that's all of my stamina. We're going to go to the spawn phase now. So I need to roll the die. The spawn rating's at 5. I rolled a 7. Man, I'm killing it there. So that is my first monster in a while, so I can't complain about that too much. We're looking for level 1 or level 2 monsters. The Deacon is in the house. The Deacon reduces the Explorer's will by 2. Increase the Explorer's horror rolls by 2, and this sucker's ethereal. That means I cannot attack him. He's just super annoying, and he's going to come into play. The Deacon, where are you? He's going to come into play over here in this spawn space because that is the current tile I am on. He doesn't even move. Which means is I'm going to need to find another way to get him off the board. The best place is probably go over here and just explore and then just get rid of this tile altogether. But that obviously could take some time. So reduce Explorer's will by 2. So my will is basically a 0. That's super awesome. Now, ethereal is the thing where you cannot attack a monster who's ethereal unless you have an ability that allows you to do it. I clearly do not have any of those abilities just yet. Now I really need to find a way to get health back because I need to start losing health aggressively so I can get past this blocking event for sure. Did I do a horror roll yet? No, I did not. So we're going to do a horror roll, killing it every time. So this goes up. We get a new horror event. And it is vanishing. Sightless things in darkness dwell, scared and black as pits of hell. Monsters are ethereal. Yep, couldn't attack those suckers anyway, but this is only for 1 round. So I put that there. The next horror phase, that will come away, and then we're good. So again, the Deacon doesn't do anything. It just stands there. It's super annoying, and it's just basically going to... oh yeah, by the way, so increase my roll by 2. So I literally needed to roll a 1 to not invoke a horror event. So as long as he's in play, we're going to be gathering threat level with a super quickness, and that is a little scurry. Ah, buddy. Yeah, which I just need to get there and explore. I need to get the Deacon off the board. He is going to kill me. And that makes me sad. So I'm going to get my 6 stamina back. I'm going to spend 1 to move here. I'm going to spend another 1 to move here. Do I want to do the event space to get essence? It's a way to, again, essence can be used as health. It's kind of a way to do some things. I could try to get another item too. I think this is the one I wanted. Right, that would allow me to do trap events for free and do doors. What was it? I looked at both of these, so I'm just gonna... Monsters move. Attack targets adjacent units. That's interesting. A little grenade could be helpful, especially since there's not a lot of trap spaces or doors anyway. I won't do the Explorer event space. I'm going to do this chest. So that's going to give me an essence. That's going to cost me 3 stamina. And, but I'm going to be right there then. I think I have to risk it. It's very close to monsters. I can get stuff over there too. No, I think I have to get further away from the spawn spaces. I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend 1 essence to activate this recharge station. So when you activate a recharge station, that gets destroyed. Now you don't restore essence or anything. You're just activating this recharge station, and that means I roll this yellow die. I get a health back. That's nice. I have 3 more stamina, and I think it just makes sense for me to keep running a little bit, get a little distance between those spawn spaces. So 1, 2, and 3. Again, I want to get there, get a new tile out. I have more opportunities to get equipment here, so see if I spawn a monster this turn. Hopefully I do not. So that's the end of my turn. I moved, I got a health back, and I moved 3 times. Again, I'm trying to get the Deacon off the board because he's super annoying. I'm going to roll this die during the spawn phase. I rolled a 5. We do not spawn a monster. That's nice. Horror phase, anything higher than a 1, I have to do a horror event. This goes here. This will come off. That's no longer in play, but we're drawing a new horror event anyway, and broken item. These halls have an inexplicable way of imbuing the very air we breathe with lots of big words, kids. Inexplicable way of imbuing the very air we breathe with pessimism, and it destructs every step we take in here. Destroy the top item from each item deck. That's exactly why I did what I did before, because it allowed me to make sure I keep the items around that I wanted to. So this is a stage 1. This is a stage 1, and this is a stage 1. Oh, that's a 2-handed weapon. So those are all destroyed. I'll put them in the destroyed pile. This is a level 2 item, so I'm just basically going to destroy a level 1 item. That's out, and these will get shuffled back in when I add new items. All right. We now go to activate the monsters. Again, the Deacon doesn't do anything. New round, I get 6 stamina. With my 6 stamina, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I have 3 stamina left. I'm going to spend it to get essence, and I'm going to get myself an item. And the item I want before it goes away is this artifact. I find it really helpful. This is a level 1. Ooh, music box. I can spend 3 stamina, and no, I'm sorry. I could spend an essence to restore 1 health, or I could spend 4 to restore a health. I can only have 1 artifact equipped at a time, and I prefer the tactical manual, although the music box could be super nice. Oof. It lets me equip it. Costs 3 stamina, which is hefty. But especially considering the goal of this chapter, I think that's the only way I'm getting through this. So yeah, it's 1 essence to restore a health or 4 stamina to restore a health. Remember, I can, since I am a crafter, I can craft any made item as soon as I get it. I'll put the tactical manual back on top. Do I want to spend an essence to restore a health? Sure, I'll do that now. Again, it just costs an essence. It doesn't cost me any stamina. And then I'm going to spend a health to get down to 2 health to do this 1 of 4 times. I need to do it 3 more times, and then we can get out of this blocking event. All right, this gets destroyed, and now we go to the spawn phase. The spawn rating is 5. I rolled a 0, so this goes up. We get a new monster on the board. It has to be a level 1 or a level 2. This is a level 1. It is Yig. And Yig comes into play with 4 charges. So 1, 2, 3, 4. On a new round, we remove a charge. When the last charge is removed, this monster takes and spawns this monster takes and spawns spawn of Gothanothia. I mean, I assume I think they were missing a word, so it's when the last charge is removed, this monster takes and spawns a spawn of Gothanotha. But then I'm not sure. I think it seems like it still stays in play as well. The fact that it says takes and spawns is weird. It should be like this monster spawns. But yeah, I guess I assume they both stay in play. It only has 1 health, and he's spawning here. It's definitely, I might be able to kill that. It has 2 arcane defense. It has 3 armor. It's only a level 1 monster, so shouldn't be the worst to kill. We now go to the horror phase, doing a horror roll. I rolled a 3. However, 3, remember, becomes a 5. So this goes up, and we get a new horror event. It is the Caustic Fog. So many steps and so many failed attempts. We are exhausted and our feet dragged behind us, willing us to lie down and rest a little, but we must go on. We must. But why? Reduce explorers' max stamina by 1. That's rough. So as long as that's in play, this goes to a 5 and not a 6 on the next round. On a new round, oh wait, we have to now do the monster phase. Again, the Deacon doesn't do anything, but Yig has 4 stamina. It's going to move 1, 2, 3, and 4 and go right there. On a new round, this goes away, so 3 charges left. I get 5 stamina. Can I kill Yig? Probably. Yeah, so I'm going to attack Yig for 2 of my stamina. I'm doing an arcane roll with the false alternator of 1 black die and 1 white die. The arcane defense, monsters are not ethereal. Deacon's ethereal, but nothing else is. I just need a 2. That's bad. I'm going to spend an essence to make that a 2. I have killed Yig. That gives me an essence back. So it's always like advantageous to spend the 1 essence just to get the roll you need, just to get the essence back, just from an action economy. But Yig is out. It's a level 1 monster. Monster level is 2, so he's totally out of the game. And I should have taken him off his thing. Look at his beautiful artwork. Done. We're now going to go to the rest of my turn. I have 3 more stamina. I'm going to use an essence to get a health. I'm going to use a health to trigger this a second time. And as much as I want another item, I think it makes sense for me to get here. So I can get Deacon off the board next turn. Man, losing that 1 stamina was bad because I could have moved and activated the Explorer event space. Just that 1 stamina makes such a difference. I could lose a health to move 3 spaces. It's not the craziest idea. But I'm getting few opportunities to get essence. God, it's a bad roll. All right, we're going to go 1, 2. I have 1 more stamina, and I'm just going to lose it. Next turn, I put another tile out. We get rid of Deacon. I think that would just make life a little bit more simplified. So that's it. I'm going to be wasting a stamina. This goes down to 0 end of my turn. Any stamina you don't spend is just lost. We're going to now do... Do I want to get rid of Deacon this turn? No, I don't think it's worth it. I could lose a health, go there, get rid of Deacon this turn, but I just... Look, horror rolls are what they are. We'll just deal with it. So spawn, I rolled a 4, so we don't spawn anything. We're going to go to the horror roll. Anything higher than a 1, that does trigger. So this goes up. We get another horror event. Overrun. A breeze danced and swirled mesmerizingly around us, moving forward until it reached the places whence our enemies came forth in endless droves. On the entrance effect, we repeat the spawn phase. I rolled a 7, so now we will spawn a monster. Again, levels 1 or 2. That's a level 3 monster, level 3 monster, level 4 monster, level 3 monster, level 2 monster. The Cthulhu Hound. Arcane attack 3. When any explorer loses essence, this monster teleports to that explorer, and it is ethereal. Oh, that's really not good. Wow. Rough. I don't know what I'm going to do about him. I'll put these over there. We'll shuffle those in when we get to level 3 monsters. The Cthulhu Hound. Where are my T's? And keeping these in alphabetical order is so important. Otherwise, you'll be looking for freaking monsters for hours. Spiders, Cthulhu Hound, and we're going to spawn him right there. He's got 2 health. Woof. Woof and woof. Yeah, I don't like that. The fact that he's ethereal, I have no way to attack him. I can push him, but I have no pit to push him into. So this is a bit of a problem. All right, we're going to activate the monsters. The Deacon doesn't do anything. The Cthulhu Hound has 5 stamina, so it's going to move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, it wants to get orthogonal. My turn. We're going to reset to 6, remember, because that horror event's no longer in play. And I'm going to spend 2 essence, or 2 stamina, and we're going to put another tile out. So we're rolling this tile back off the board. The Deacon is banished, so we're going to put him in the discard pile. He's still level 2, so he will come back into play, but he's out for now. This entrance token is gone. These are gone. Destroyed door tokens over here. This I'm going to flip and put it on the bottom of the terrain deck. Like so. So ethereal is interesting. You can move through ethereal monsters. They do count as obstacles for the purpose of targeting, but they themselves cannot be targeted unless you have an ability that lets you target them. I have 4. Oh, and I have to put another tile in play. This is the new tile, and now we'll go there. All right, spawn space there and there. Chapter tile, I guess it doesn't matter. I definitely need more essence. Closely Hound's moving 5 at a pop, which is really not great. Attacking the barrels could be helpful. Explorer event space is there. Items there. So me spending my essence to get health has been a little bit bad because it's gonna be really hard for me to seal a tile. I do have a ranged attack with the false alternator, so if I spawn a monster there, it would be terrible. I can potentially blow it up with the barrel. I need to take 2 more damage to get past this blocking event. You know it's a blocking event because it has that little symbol on top of the scenario deck. So with my 4 more movement, I'm going to go 1, 2. Could I just moved here? I could have just moved there. I'm going to go 1. And then spend 2 to put a door token out. So I'll put this down that way this time. And then 3. So diagonal adjacency is interesting. Like if it's just a corner, that doesn't negate adjacency, or line of sight for that matter. So it's the rulebook does a really good job kind of explaining all of that, but the art's a little bit like, wait, how is that adjacent? It is. The only exception really is with adjacency. If you have to be next to a wall, you can't be next to the corner of a wall. You actually have to be alongside the wall, for sure. And actually, I'm going to come here instead because depending on if a monster spawns, I might be able to again use these barrels to kill it a little bit more effectively. A wall will negate adjacency though, so like I'm not adjacent to that chest that's on the other side of the wall, so I actually can't get anything there. So out of stamina, gonna check the comments. Hello there, guys, says Jester. Hope all is well. David Coleman says Lovecraft, lots of big words and lots of apostrophes and commas. Yes. Big words. I speak good. All right, let's make this happen. So I'm gonna try to hopefully not spawn something. So let me roll lower than a 6. I rolled a 5. Don't show off. And now we go to the horror roll. So again, Deacon's gone, so I no longer lawyer at the +2. So hopefully I can slow down that track up there. Beautiful. I rolled a 2. That goes down to a 3. It's a nice thing to happen. The Hound is the only enemy left, so it's going to go after me. It's going to go 1, 2, 3. It needs 4 essence to be able to destroy that door. Or can it just go right through? I don't think it can go through there. That'd be stupid. Ethereal. I think ethereal units still have to destroy the door. Can be attacked. Units can move through ethereal units. Well, they can't. Yeah, they can't. They still have. The door still is going to control them, which is a little bit weird thematically, but I think from a gameplay perspective, makes a lot of sense. And I'm happy to take advantage of that little quirk. So, beginning of a new round, I get full stamina back. The Telosi Hound's going to be slowed down for sure by that door for a little bit. I need essence. I need to spend essence to turn it into health, and I need to spend health to get the heck out of this chapter. And kind of keep this moving. So I'm going to move 1 for 1 stamina. I'm going to spend 3 stamina to go down to 2, and I'm going to invoke an Explorer event. So I'm destroying this space. So just like we've seen all the horror events, this is our first Explorer event. Clearly this hasn't been going great for me. I'm going to take this card here. The Arcane Guardian. Can I attack? I don't think I can attack him. So the Arcane Guardian, curiosity may bring about my end someday, but not yet. The strange device was easy to operate, and I simply could not resist the urge. I fiddle with it. Arcane attack, 3 white dice against monsters. Okay, ethereal units can be attacked indirectly using traps, exploding barrels, or other abilities that do not need to target the ethereal unit. Yeah, this does not need to target the ethereal unit, so this will work. So I'm rolling an arcane attack, 3 white dice, but I need a 4 here. I don't think this is gonna work. I rolled a 3. Ugh. Really awesome. So that's just gonna go there. Thanks for trying Arcane Guardian, but I would have preferred something a wee bit more helpful. I have 2 more stamina. Again, there's 3 Explorer events in a row, but right there is going to be where a monster might spawn, and that makes me nervous. It also is a reason why I'm not eager. Oh, I do get an essence because of that. I'm not gonna do any of this health stuff right now. I'll just kind of keep my options open, and I think we're gonna have to start moving. I don't see how I'm gonna ever defeat this hound, to be real. So I'm gonna move 1, 2. I don't love being with all these in between these chests. We'll see what I spawn. Hopefully it's not something that chases after me too much. And I'm just gonna end my turn there. All right, spawn phase. Spawn rating's at a 5. I rolled a 6, so this goes here. I'm looking for a level 1 or 2 monster. The hound's gonna go up. It's a Buopath. A Buopath, when this monster is hit, it moves 2 spaces towards the nearest spawn spaces, but when it enters, it immediately moves 2 spaces. Well, that's super awful. So the Buopath is going to enter. Where are my bees? He enters right here. Again, his entrance ability, he moves 2 spaces immediately, so he's going to go 1, 2. We now do the horror roll. 1 or 2, we're good. Oh, nice. We prevented another horror roll from coming in, and now we activate our little enemies up here. The Telosi Hound is going to spend 4 stamina to destroy that door, and it comes here, so we put a destroyed door token on the board. And that's out. And the Buopath has 5 stamina. It's going to try to get adjacent to me to attack, so it's going to move 1. It's attacking me with a arcane attack of a 2. It has 4 stamina left, so it can attack me twice. So it's got to be adjacent to me. So it's not an arcane attack. I'm sorry. It's just a melee attack. So 1 black, 1 white. My armor is a Again, my scryer is over here, so my armor is a 1, 2, and a 3. But remember, when I block melee attacks, I reduce the attack roll by 1, so my armor is effectively a 4. So, sorry about that. I'm going to roll that. I rolled a 3. So again, 3 would match my 3, but since it's reduced down to a 2, that first attack misses. The second attack is a 2. So 2 attacks on me, they finally started to miss. So that makes me feel a little bit better about where I'm at. Oh, that Telosi Hound is super nasty, and of course is not yet adjacent to a barrel. So I'm going to go back to my turn. I have 6 stamina. Telosi Hound needs 2 stamina left to attack me. So I'm going to put it in a place where it won't be able to attack me this turn. If I push into a barrel, that counts as hitting it, but none of the angles are right for that to happen. So I'm going to spend 3 stamina to go 1, 2, 3. I'm spending 2 stamina to put out a new. Oh man. Trying to think if there's any way I can attack that barrel. If I kill those monsters, it could really help. If I spawn another monster there, though, oof. Again, I had to spend so many essence to get health with this music box. Let's hope I roll less than a 6. My other option is I try to go this way and get out from where these barrels are. I think I need to enhance this map. All right, 1, 2, 3. I'm spending 2 stamina to put out another map tile. So next map tile is going to be here. So we're going to get a bigger grid. Put all my items over here. We're going to have to figure out how to make this work. Move those up. That should be better. And this is going to come into play there. Spawn spaces are on the other side of the room, so that's a great tile for me. And if I move in, oh, that's a really, really nice tile for me. All right, very cool. I mean, it was on the top of the deck. I could have looked, but I honestly was not, because I play good. But I do want to, this is the best place for me to get rid of the hound, by coming here and exploring. So I'm going to move the 1 and just get onto this staircase there. And I can go in here, close a door, do a bunch of things. Yeah, that was a really, really nice tile for me. So no more stamina. We go to the spawn phase. I'm rolling a die. I rolled a 4, so we do not spawn anything. This, I did not. Yeah, I missed the horror event last time too, so I'm going to roll this again. I rolled an 8, so we have a horror event. Threat level goes up. Next horror event is Paralyzing Fog. Oh, that's so bad, dude. Why? A gust of strange fumes filled the place like a giant wave, and after a few moments we were left paralyzed, frozen in a position as the miasma enveloped us, our open eyes warded with our futile efforts to remain mobile. It was only sheer desperation that allowed us to take any actions at all. For 1 round, I cannot move. That's really terrible, because I had a whole turn set up in my head, and that is not happening now. All right. Monsters. What are you going to do? Monsters are going to activate. So the Tindalosi Hound has 5 stamina. It's ethereal, so it can move through other units. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and now stand in front of my face and be ready to bust me up twice next turn. And woof, that makes me super not happy. The Buopath is going to go 1, 2. Oh, this is going to come off this little thing here. It's attacking me. It has 3 stamina left, so it can get 1 attack. It's getting a black and a white die. Remember, it's a melee attack, so it's reduced by 1. This Targa is not going to work against arcane attacks. It rolls a 2, so it does not do any damage to me. So that's at least fortunate. Oh man, not being able to move her around is so bad. And now we go. I can't move. So silly. Ugh. And you know what's even really worse about that is now the hound is on my tile, so I can't even banish it that way. I really needed to race down there and try to get rid of him. Oh, the hound's really bad. Oh. When I lose essence, he teleports to me. And that includes if I lose essence for this? Oh man, I can't remember if I did that or not. If I did, it was back here whenever I closed the door in his face anyway. Yeah, I might have messed that up earlier. So every time I spend essence, he comes to me because he's a hound. That's a really nasty monster, man. And being ethereal. So that makes... Well, he's already adjacent to me, so I mean, there's an argument just to do that this turn. Rough. Alright, I'm going to get 6 stamina. I'm going to spend this essence to get a health. The Tolosi Hound teleports to that explorer. He's already there. I mean, he's going to attack me twice. I'm going to spend 4 stamina to get another health. And then I'm going to spend 2 stamina to increase my armor and will by 1 with the force alternator. I don't think it's going to matter, but it's worth trying. We're going to do the spawn phase. The spawn is at 5. It's now at 1, so nothing spawns. We're going to do a horror roll. It's a 2, so no horror event. This again came off, and now we activate the monster. The Tolosi Hound is going to attack me. It's attacking me with 3 black dice. I increase my armor and will by 1, so my will is effectively a 4. It is not a melee attack, it's an arcane attack. It rolls a 5, so I take a damage. It's going to be able to attack me again. It still has 3 stamina. It rolls a 3. Oof, nice. Saved myself a damage. The Buopath is going to be able to attack me twice. It rolls a 2. It rolls a 4. My armor was a 1, 2, 3, 4. And I reduced the die by 1 because of the sturdy Targa, whatever. So it actually was a 3, so I effectively did not take any damage from the Buopath. So that worked out fairly well. That was a nice little combo. And now we're going to go back to another round. I get 6 stamina. I'm moving 1. I'm spending 2 to put a door in place. I have 4 stamina left, or 3 stamina left. I'm going to open this chest. It gives me an essence, and I need to get an item. So we're going to put a destroyed token here, and I will take from the consumables. I will take, well, this is a level 3. Skip adjacent monsters' turns. Oh, that's amazing. I have to discard the card, but it only costs 1. It's probably better than the pulse grenade. Yeah, I like that a lot. But I will put the pulse grenade back on top of the consumable deck. Put that there. All right, the Parapraxive Amphora. I have no stamina left. I mean, does it make any sense to take a damage just to put 1 more on there? Because he would move adjacent to me if I did this turn, so that I can't lose any essence. But if I spend a health, part of me just tempted to spend a 2 health just to get through this stupid act. This is going to go away. That would give me 1 health left. Remember, so notice the explorers can't move thing. Again, it was a 1-round effect. Once we got to the horror phase the next turn, that went away, even though I didn't roll another horror event. I'm just gonna take the 2 damage. I'm down to 1 health, but I have to keep this moving. I'm just like a sitting duck where I am right now. So we'll see what happens when I advance this agenda. So again, 4 times. Once I did the 4 times, I go to the next chapter. We flip it over. New artwork. Ooh, man, I do actually really love the reveals with the artwork. It's very, very cool. So that goes there. We go to Torn Journal. Our gory path led us to an abrupt end at an entrance to a room. In the center, a book lay amidst assorted articles scattered all over the floor. It was instantly apparent that this tome was a journal, and by lucky chance written in my language. The author's carefully penned memoirs descended into frenzied madness as the dates wore on. The book proved beyond doubt that the writer was a member of the House of Bliss. I could feel my spine tingling with disquietude as I comprehended that the cult could be here, now, at this very moment, lurking in the shadows, weaving their deceitful webs like patient spiders awaiting their prey. The last entries in the diary were cryptic and delusional, and clearly the results of an unhinged mind. There was a particularly dreadful chapter, missing a few pages, was described a ritual of reanimation in loving detail. So, I could spend... Oh, nope. So, ooh. I guess I meant 6 stamina and a essence to banish target monster. It's got to be adjacent. And there's a spawn a monster ability. So when we have the monster phase, the monsters are going to use this first. This is their priority. So they're going to keep spawning monsters, but again, only up to 4. But if you go to spawn a monster and I already have 4, instead of spawning a monster, the threat level increases. So this is a pretty nasty card here. Banishing targeted monster makes me a little bit happy, but now we have to add the level 2 items. So I'm going to go through all the cards I discarded from the beginning of the game because they were a different level, and just sort these real quick and get these back in their respective decks. 2, 2, and 2. All right, so we'll shuffle these 2 apparel cards back in here. Oh wait, do I know what the top card is? Nope, I did not. That's done. Do I know what the top one is here? Nope, I did not. Shuffle these in. I think I knew what the top one is. Whoop, sorry, knocked over the monster deck. I think I knew what this one is. Yeah, pulsating grenade, so I'll leave that off on the side. And then we're shuffling these in. Yeah, it would get shuffled anyway. I don't know why I'm caring about that. Right, you just have to shuffle them in. So unfortunately, pulsating grenade wasn't meant to be, kid. But this is fine. I think I'm going to spend a whole turn to just banish this ridiculous hound. Even if it's ethereal, I think that's still legit. I think that is still legit. Cannot be targeted by... Oh, it can't be targeted, period. No, so I can't even target it with that. That's crazy. I can skip its turn, though. That's probably better. And this is currently in play. Oh, that's freaking crazy. They're going to spawn so many monsters. I think you're still maxed. It's not clear. Like, this effect, I don't think would trump the limit of 4 monsters on the map tile. But I think I think it will trigger the threat level. But it's really not clear from the rules. But I don't see another way that makes sense. My essence is down to a 1. My health down to a 1. I can't banish the Tunlosi Hound. I have no way of dealing with the Tunlosi Hound. And he's going to keep punching me in the face. All right. So that was the end of my turn. We're going to go to the spawn phase. I rolled a 9. So this should have set the 7. This reset the 4. I still rolled a 9. So we are getting another monster. It's a Gnome Kep. It's a level 2 monster, 2 health, attack 3 and 1. Move toward target explorer up to 4 spaces. Attack using number of move spaces. Oof. Gross. It's going to come into play. Does Greg know his alphabet? Yes, he does. That's going to go there. That will come off the stand. We're now going to have to move. This is not going well, kids. We're now going to have to go to the horror phase. do a horror roll. I rolled a 7. This goes up 1. We get a new horror event. Haunted floor. Am I in a trap? Ah. Gross. The floor became a blur, and the patterns etched on the stone moved around whimsically, forcing us to grab a hold of the wall for support. So faint confusion of you make us. So we have to activate the traps. When you activate the traps, it's going to be units attack all units on top of the chat spaces in a map tile for 3. That would only be me. So it's going to be 3 black dice. I don't think this is I don't know if this counts as a melee attack. I think it does, so maybe the roll is reduced by 1. We'll see if it matters. I rolled a 6. Even if you reduce it to a 5, I'm still in super trouble. Oh, by the way, so this consumable, when I grab this, consumables don't get equipped like other items, so you can always have it no matter what your class type. That does give me a damage, which means I have to spend the essence. Oh, I'm super dead. Because when I spend essence, the Tolosi Hound is going to teleport adjacent to that monster. So it's going to go there because it can't go anywhere else. And I'm going to die. So I have to spend the essence because I can't spend the health. So that was a really bad horror event. Now we go to the monster's turn. His first order of business is he's going to spawn a monster. That's going to cost him 3. This is a level 3 monster. Level 1, there's Amigo. When this monster is destroyed, attacker invokes Explorer event. And we'll put the Amigo in play. I'm trying to think if there's any way I can survive this. I don't think so. I think I'm toast. I think I'm super toast. So he spawned the monster. It's going to be closest spawn space. Since that's full, it still goes to the closest spawn. We'll just put it adjacent. And now he has 2 left. He's going to attack me. It's an arcane attack. I mean, I have 1, 2, 3. I mean, he needs to roll epically bad. He rolls a 4. That's my last health. And that is all she wrote. Yeah, I don't think there's anything I could have done there, the way that played out. Because that would have killed me. I could have probably survived the Bua path. I had it where I wanted there, because the other Amigo, all the Hound was going to do on his turn was going to move 1 and destroy. The fact that I got attacked by the horror event and I just happened to be standing on a trap space, that was a really bad combo, because then I lose the essence. The Hound has to come adjacent to me, so it goes there. And that is all she wrote. But that's a rough. I forgot this chapter was so rough, man. The fact that they're spawning those monsters. I mean, you're going to get up to 4 pretty quick. I mean, the Bua path. Oh, that's interesting. Was still on the other tile, so it actually would have spawned the monster there. And then he would have moved. But you got to really fly through this chapter. Like, that's the true solo challenge of trying to fly through this is really rough, because I would have had to kill a bunch of things, try to get 4 essence, or you don't even bother. I don't bother lighting up the thing, because again, you could steal a unlit chapter space. It just costs you 3 essence and 3 stamina, as opposed to the 1 stamina it costs if it's lit. And again, the best way to light it up is just to steal a spawn space. So that would have been an interesting run. But it's probably better to like have a die early in a game like this. I mean, there's a lot of spoiler concerns when I do a playthrough of something like Machina Arcana, as compared to some other games that would do that have a bit more replayability. The story is really a big part of what drives this game, so I'm not that upset that this is kind of ending here. I think you saw both the challenge of like a true solo play and me being used to having another explorer around. There's probably an approach thing that was pretty wrong, with how I kind of came in. I got decent items there. I mean, altogether though, I felt like when I was here I could have made it work. The combination though of like this hound and just not having any way to get rid of it was super nasty. That's a really nasty enemy. I mean, I did get the threat level 2 like mad quick, and that's part of the problem when you get the deacon out, because the deacon just got me through that terror level so quickly. I mean, that hound is really bad. I mean, you can't target it. I mean, I can't even push it. He's absolutely untargetable. That's nuts. Let's pivot if the names of targeted theater units. They can be attacked using traps, exploding barrels. That would have been an argument here. I mean, when I had this like guardian attack here, if that did 1 damage on the hound, that would have been an argument to try to stay up here, attack one of these barrels, and then if I could have killed the hound that way indirectly, that could have been really strong. Instead, I saw the space, and I really saw a path that I could give myself a couple more rounds and hope for some things to really turn around. But this wasn't meant to be. But yeah, this is a fun game, man. If you like the Mythos, I really, this is probably a game that I'm gonna probably, spend more of my time playing co-op with friends. I mean, Arkham Horror, the LCG, has also gone that route for me. My solo gaming has, just there's other games that have kind of taken my attention. But I mean, especially as far an interesting take on the Mythos, I love the art. I love the world that's been created. I love the it's like it's familiar, but it's not. So I think there's in some ways it really does highlight a lot of the cool things about Arkham. I find the investigators interesting. I wish they could have been a little more varied. In some ways to get like a unique item to start or some kind of level up system, like Champions of Horror, you get to a certain level, you get your bonus item, or you get your ultimate ability, right? There's not much, the starting abilities are interesting, but like, look, dude, this ability of this arcane attack with 1 white die, like I'm never really using that in gameplay. That's not super effective, but it does allow me to reduce the armor and the will by 1 of that monster. So maybe I could set it up, but that's a pretty intensive stamina cost. I think what makes the crafter, though, something I would have used a lot more, I just never got the right items, was the upgrade or augment. I got a little rough that first room when instead of having the extra opportunities to get a lot more items in that first tile, remember all those spaces were destroyed by the monsters. So by the time I got to a place where I was kind of in control of that tile, I couldn't really take advantage of it. And then the deacon got spawned anyway. So it was like, all right, let me run across the room, make sure he goes away, because he was going to really make me continue to run through that threat level. I would end up with level 3 monsters, and I was having a hard enough time to deal with the level 2s as it was. So super tough. Bad luck with the hound. It sucks. Fun game. Thanks for explaining it. No problem. I have this. I have seriously reported this every week. YouTube. I don't understand what is going on. I'm gonna hide user from the channel again. So sorry about that, but yeah, this was super fun. It's a cool game. I would highly recommend it. Again, thanks again to Juraj and Adreama Games for the review copy. I'm interested in continuing with the next 2 scenarios in the base game, but again, I do have some serious spoiler concerns. I think especially as you get to those final chapters, and those final chapters that really, they are the payoff for the story. Is this a game that has replayability? Like, I don't know. Like, I think it does. I think especially the investigators in the expansions add add some new wrinkles and add some new ideas. So for me, like, I find the Arkham LCG campaigns super replayable. I played them, each. Oh, I played the earlier ones dozens of times. No exaggeration. The latter ones, 2 or 3 times each. Edge of the Earth I played once. No, I played twice. I did play that twice. And I realized I'm probably never playing that one again. But that's fine. That's me. But there is something to be said about kind of going back to engaging with these puzzles again. I don't know, though. I don't think the horror events do a lot to really differentiate each of the scenarios. I don't think the investigator events do a lot to really differentiate each of these scenarios. so the first 6, 7 chapters of each scenario are going to feel very similar until you get to those end stage and those end tiles, and then you kind of see the payoff. The end tiles are interesting. Some of them, they have some unique mechanics. They can take a little bit to kind of understand what you're supposed to do. So, the end game tiles, aren't amazing, but they are a fitting end to these scenarios, and I do I have enjoyed again a lot my play. Seeing the items get better, like when you get into the crafting and you get it's ultimately what you really want is something like that, where it's like, all right, that takes up one hand, but I have a crafted item. I get another item that maybe I can upgrade and augment, or I get into my apparel. I mean, I'll try to just show you a full apparel just so we kind of see what's going on here. So that would be an augment. And so if I had something like this, and I get a boots, Das Boot. Where are Das Boots? That's a big deck, man. All right, so this would be something like this, where it's like, all right, this is all one apparel. I mean, you start building up to something like this. There's a lot of abilities there. You have a lot of upgraded stats. You have a lot of things that really flesh out your investigator and give you a lot of tries. And by the time you go through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chapters, you really have a chance. The investigator events often will help you with items. This event really wasn't great. Refresh any map space could have been nice. When you steal spawn space, banish all level 1, 2, and 3 monsters. Whoa. And then discard. Oh, but you have to seal a spawn space. Wow, so you have to leave that out and seal a spawn space 3 times. That's crazy. That's probably not happening. This is reset the horror and spawn ratings when that enters. That could be helpful in the right spot. Oh, this is spend 3 essence to just light the chapter. Oh, that could have been really nice. So some of the investigative events can really, really help you. So I think the replayability will come from that, like how those come out, the ordering of that, the monsters you face. Again, not being chased by a hound, having a monster I couldn't banish, I couldn't target, I couldn't do anything with was a little bit rough. But I just, it is what it is. I mean, had I had just these 2 dudes, these 3, I feel a lot better about where I was at. And the fact that he moves adjacent to me every time I spent essence, well, it kind of took my music box and made that a little bit more questionable, right? So, yeah, I'm still surprised at how nasty this monster is for a level 2 too. I mean, the monsters do get crazy in level 3 and level 4. But yeah, so lots to like about this one. The crafting is definitely the kind of thing that you'll think about, a lot. Or at least Zach and I, Zach, my friend I played this game with the most, so we've we talk about different combinations and trying to get things to come together and looking for the right symbols, right? So this augmentation has an orange circle, so that can only work with a weapon that has an orange circle like this. And then all of a sudden increase this weapon's attack roll by 3. Yeah, but that's also, again, a level 3 item. So it's a level 3 augmentation on a level 3 weapon that takes up 2 hands. I mean, this thing better be pretty nasty, right? So you have a super chance of pretty much killing everybody, but immobile? Oh, wow. So if you have this, so basically, what? So if you have this, so when, that's weird. I'm trying to, what's the right word here? So if you have this equipped, then you're immobile while you have that out? Oh, that's pretty weird. I would never take that. But I can move but then you could spend 3 to move a space, even if you're immobile. But I thought immobile, I guess you can move yourself 1 space, but it's expensive to move because you're moving around with a Gatling gun. Thematically, that's funny. I just don't see how that would ever be effective, at least at a small game. Plus, its range, its range is messed up by obstacles. There are things. Oh, but it only costs 1. Oh, that's crazy. So you're gonna get a ton of gunfire. So you could literally spend 3 to equip this. So one of the things I didn't do was the use inventory action, where you can take everything in your inventory and basically rearrange things, take your unequipped items and equip them. If you ever get to a workbench, that's part of that action. So you could put that out and then you can hit 3 attacks in the same turn. So that's an interesting mechanic. I don't know how I feel about that one. Because if it could fire over obstacles, it'd be great. There are some targets that have like that's something different to the symbol, where there's like more like ridges or something. That basically means you can actually attack over obstacles. Now, what counts as an obstacle for the purpose of targeting? Like units count as an obstacle, like the barrels, like pretty much everything but spawn spaces or entrance spaces count as obstacles, whether they're destroyed or not. So there are times where line of sight, but if you had line of sight to multiple enemies, you get 3 solid attacks with a Gatling gun. Even after you do the equip action, that could be pretty fun. But yeah, you better have other weapons too in your unequipped items. So there's some interesting moments. It's like a major power, right? That's like a Spirit Island. It's like kill 17 things, but put 7 blight out, right? Like the cost benefits of some of these items would be pretty interesting. But that is that. David, bad luck. Don't see anything else. Hid the our friend Nude HD from the channel. So this is super fun. Yeah, if people were interested in seeing another scenario, definitely let me know in the comments. I will try to put this game back, maybe try to show it off. I'm on a weird streak with some review copies. Like the first Uprising I put out, I got absolutely thrashed. At least this time I didn't have the designer stop by and say, "Oh, you're getting crushed." Like Pavel did when I was playing Uprising. But this was cool. So again, definitely a game to check out, especially if you are not sick of Cthulhu, and even if maybe you are, there is a fresh twist on the game. If you like steampunk, definitely is a game I would super recommend. We'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow. I got a playthrough of Too Many Bones. I'm going up against Leech. Should be a shorter playthrough. It's only a 7-day tyrant, so that will not be very long. We'll be going up against Leech with Picket and Boomer. Still hopefully I get my Hoplomachus Victorum pretty soon, so I can start featuring all of the new Gearlocks I will have with that. But we'll see how long it takes for me to get my full complement of Chip Theory Games boxes in that Kickstarter. And then on Friday, we're going to start earlier, start 11 a.m. I'm going to do a quick playthrough of Maze Knight of Volcara's Quest with someone? Wolfie? No. Is it Wolfie? It might be Wolfie. I think it's Wolfhawk. So we're doing a Volcara's Quest on Legendary. Not sure what I'm going to do with the tempo. I got to see what I did on the channel already. I probably won't go to the most insane level. It's crazy. I'll probably do Legendary. What is it? Daring, thrilling. It's like fair, daring, thrilling, or daring. The fair. I think it's fair, daring, thrilling. I'll probably do Legendary Daring, is I think how the rating system works on that for that. Next week, I'm trying to get myself to a place where I can do a Space Empires 4X playthrough of the Alien Empire scenario. So look out for that. We'll have some Spirit Island. And I'm going to do the playthrough on the thematic boards. And I'm not sure what the third thing is for next week. It might be the first playthrough of Shores of Tripoli, which should be pretty fun. But this was cool. Thanks for everyone for joining in. I hope everyone's having a great day, staying cool wherever you are. And until next time, happy gaming.
Solo.